It's Honda 250 Day here at Glen Helen today, and I hope everyone gets one for Christmas. Okay, so what we got here is a little bit late to the game here. We got a little bit of a test for, it's December and I'm finally riding the 25 Honda 250. I've been looking forward to riding one. They've done some updates to the bike. It's one of the most updated bikes for 25 in the 250 class. I've always felt at home on the Honda bikes. They have a really comfortable feel. I rode Hondas the majority of my adult life. I've ridden Hondas, and you just feel at home on them. For the guys that who've ridden them a lot, everything just feels comfortable. And this bike is sure just that. Really nice bike. And what we have here today also is the RWE version, which is the race version. And you know, everybody said factory editions. Honda has the RWE. And in this version, it comes with a lot of extra parts that the regular one doesn't. They make about 500 of those, and so they're gonna be harder to find. They cost about $2,300 more than the regular one, if you can find one and go that way. Okay, so we've got Luke out here, our photo guy, out here on the track, because he's a little skinnier and looks a little better and a better rider on the track. So we got some go fast footage of Luke on both bikes, and he really enjoyed riding both. He does a lot of test riding with us and with Vital, and so it's nice to have him out here making the bike look good, a little bit better than us. And I had a good time riding both bikes. The bike has got the new chassis. That's the big word, and I think it mainly affected the guys in the 450 class. Were all, I don't want to say whining, but complaining about the chassis. They wanted a different chassis, so the guys were like, it feels too stiff, it needs a softer frame. Well, from what I understand, they went to a more rigid frame, which gave it a softer feel. And that's what they did to the 450, and everybody liked that. They updated this bike, the 250, the same year as the 450. That hardly ever happens. So that's kind of a cool thing that Honda's being more proactive and more aggressive on updating bikes. So I think that's really cool. So it's got the new chassis in it. New airbox design. The other one I did not care for, so it's getting more air through here on this bike, which I really like. The new styling's all good. They got new suspension settings, and I will say the stock suspension is a lot better than the older stuff in 20 through 24 bikes in there, which I rode a bunch. The stock stuff was almost really kind of unrideable for me. The stock stuff here is good. It's better on the RWE, which I'll talk about, but it's really good stock. Pretty happy with it, with the suspension. Motor, I don't think it's the fastest bike in the class, but it has really good comfort, and I ran it in map 3 most of the time. It just had more power, clean. I think this bike with an ECU is going to be a great bike, and I probably would do some suspension mods, but I think this bike is a really good bike, stock. So now let's talk about the RWE version. Let's start at the bottom. So the RWE gets different rims from DID that are stronger rims. So it gets different rims. The shock gets an 18mm shaft, so a bigger shaft for your shocks for better suspension there. I'm not sure how much I would notice that back to back. The front forks have the coating, the fancy coatings on that look like DLC. I'm not sure the exact name of the coatings, but you get the coatings on there, and they actually have different settings in the suspension because of that. And so on the track, it is noticeable. This bike felt, for me, a lot softer and more plush. It felt really good. And I rode the regular version first, then I rode the RWE, and RWE was definitely better in the rough, choppy stuff, which we have plenty of here at Glen Helen. Also, this bike's got they got anodize on the triple clamps. The big thing with the motor is it's got a bit of porting to the head and different mapping for that porting. So that's the big news, and a full system, a tie-yoke system, has the full system. So that's a lot there, and it's more than $2,300 worth of mods. And I think if somebody was serious and didn't want to have to do all those mods, and they were happy with that brand of pipe and so forth, and they're close to our weight range, I guess it's a great bike. I think it's probably worth doing. A lot of the factory edition models I haven't been huge fans of buying, mainly because there's nothing really different other than bling items. So this one actually has a big difference where you actually notice the suspension's better, the motor's better, it pulls longer, the motor's way cleaner when you're, especially here at Glen Helen, you're running up the hills. The mapping's cleaner. I don't think I would even mess with anything. The one thing I did forget to mention, which is huge, is the hydraulic clutch. So the RWE version comes with a hydraulic clutch. I love the hydraulic clutch on all of our other bikes, and I wish it came on the regular version bike. So again, the hydraulic clutch, I'm a huge fan of it. I think that's a big improvement for a lot of guys. Just a way better consistent feel. You're not having to adjust anything. I like the hydraulic clutch feel. The stock gearing on these bikes is really good. I don't think you need to change anything there. On the suspension, on the forks, there's also some fancier clickers to do your adjustments with the RWE version. So overall, I think the RWE version is pretty incredible. Okay, so I get a lot of questions about why I ride 250s, first of all, and I'm bigger. I am getting a little smaller, so that's good. But on the track, especially you get over 40 years old, if you're not serious about racing, now out here in Southern California, we have the luxury of being able to practice a lot and ride tracks and not race that often. If you're serious about racing on a 250, you're gonna give up too much in the vet classes to a 450, especially on the start. And most races aren't that long and they're not as rough as here. If they're long races and rough, you can make that time back up on the 250 in the vet classes. But I'm not racing for real. I'm having a good time. I like to do long motos, 40, 50-minute motos. And so that's where the 250 is really helpful. And Donnie will attest to when I'm on my 350 versus when I'm on my 250F, I'm a lot faster, longer, and can ride harder and longer on the 250. Just feel safer, and you know, it's an oxymoron, safer in motocross, right? Because it is a dangerous sport, and anything can happen. But when you feel safer, that's a big difference. Now, also here's another caveat: is 250s guys go, it's not enough to clear those jumps at their local track. Here's my opinion: if I need a 450 to be jumping something, I don't want to be jumping it. That's my takeaway on that, and that's kind of where I'm at now in life. In the old days, I think I would have been apt to jump something that I could do on a fourth gear wide open on a 450. I'd be interested in doing that, not anymore. So that's why the 250 keeps me in check. I'm not going to try any crazy jumps. A track like Glen Helen here, the main track or the Aurora track, you can do everything on a 250 and just fine and have a great time. So that's why I like riding 250s. I feel safer, I can ride longer, all those types of things. And so it's a great bike, I think, for a lot of guys who are looking to have fun, ride a lot of moto and trail. Now, the next question I get is, why don't you ride a 250F out in the desert or trail riding? Unfortunately, it's not quite enough trail riding, and that's where I'll lean into that 350 argument that we do. Is if you have one bike, that's where we kind of lean towards 350 XCF. We like that. You guys know that from our past stories and videos. But if you're riding motocross, a 250 motocross bike, it just fits so dang well for the vet guy to have fun and to enjoy yourself. And are you always going to want a little bit more power? Probably, but you'll have a good time and enjoy yourself. So that's the way I look at it. What do you think, Donnie? Yeah. Donnie's like, I'm ready for lunch. So hopefully you guys have enjoyed the video. We've got some good footage of me riding it. I really enjoyed riding this thing today out here at Glen Helen. Both bikes are amazing. I don't think you're going to go wrong with this bike. There's already been some shootouts out from, you know, all the main media outlets out there, tons of shootouts. It's kind of a mid-place bike in the shootouts. And I think a lot of that is because in this class, this 250 class, guys want the most absolute power. That's what's going to win stock. And I think if the RWE was in those, now of course it's going to cost more, but this RWE gets it into the price range of a KTM bike, those brand of bikes. So if that's what you're thinking, that could be a lot closer in those shootouts. So if that bike was included in the shootouts, I think it could be a little bit different story with the RWE version. So fun time. Hondas are really good bikes on the fit and, like I said, on the fit and comfort, and even the brakes. Everything feels good on these bikes with these older components, I would say, compared to like what I'm used to with like the Brembo stuff, but still really good. Really like the hydraulic clutch on the RWE. And I think the only other thing I forgot is on this version bike, it doesn't come with as good a tire stock. I forgot to mention on the RWE version, it comes with Dunlop MX33 tires, and the regular one doesn't. I put on some Dunlops on for when I was going to go ride. I had some used Dunlops to throw on here, so I was able to get some tires on there. So with the Dunlops fitted on there, and it's a 110. And one thing I forgot to mention, last thing on the RWE, it's a 215 inch rim. It's a wide rim where this bike comes with a narrow rim. So it's nice to have that wider rim on the RWE version, and you get a 110 rear instead of a 100 rear, which comes stock on the regular version bike. So that's a lot of stuff I say for that $2,300. So if you're serious about a Honda, I'd probably lean that way. And but you can probably find one of these cheaper and do some of your own mods. Either way, you're gonna be having fun. We'll see you guys next time. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe. See ya.